I'll tell you how I'm going to play Path of Exile. I'm going to go 100% defense build because I realized my problem last time. The problem I had last time was my health kept getting reduced to 0. I've realized now that is bad. So if I have a build where my health does not get reduced to 0, I might survive. This is what you get when you log into the stream. You get absolute top of the range Path of Exile advice. You don't get that from anywhere else. That's my alarm to go to work. That's how much I care about all of you. See, I'm here on time. I'm actually here 5 minutes early. You know, that means I can leave 5 minutes early as well. That's the law. I don't mean to alarm you, but we are 19 minutes and 17 seconds away from the reveal. And that's when I'm going to just stop talking and let Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games take over. Is this the final countdown? Doodaloo-doo. Doodaloo-doo-doo. Doodaloo, doodaloo, doodaloo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Doodaloo. DMCA. Good knowing you guys. WASD movement confirmed for PoE 2 in the Steam page. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to fact check. I'm just going to completely believe you. 100%. If any of you give me facts in the chat right now that you have made up about Path of Exile 2, I will say them as if they are real. Let's just make some stuff up. Here you go. Ready? I'll start with a crazy one. There's gold. I know. I know. Ridiculous. Insane. Why would you even do it? Imagine putting gold in Path of Exile. Silly choices. Who would do it? No one would do it. I genuinely think, and this is not just corporate bullshit, I genuinely think that Path of Exile has survived so long with such a passionate player base because the guys that make it enjoy it. And that sounds seriously silly. Of course people that make games enjoy them. Well, no, there's many companies that do and that don't. But there's a love, there's a passion that is palpable when you play the game. Sounds silly, but it is, and I've played a hell of a lot of games. There is a feeling. Sometimes when you play a game, you think, yeah, this is decent. Never trust a thin cook, as they say. There's a reason it's been going for so long. I think it's decent. I think it respects the player's time. I think it has a lot of good ideas, and I enjoy it. It's not perfect. Nothing is. But I enjoy it as a game.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Thanks for joining us for today's Path of Exile livestream. We have a packed show today, with announcements for Path of Exile 2, as well as the exclusive unveiling of Path of Exile Affliction.
The monk darts around quickly from enemy to enemy, building and unleashing combos. If he doesn't stay in combat, he loses momentum and has to build it up again.
It looks really good, like legit.
The warrior, on the other hand, is like a slow but unstoppable freight train. A warrior commits to big attacks and relies on stunning his enemies to stay safe in the thick of combat. When an opening presents itself, a warrior can use even larger attacks to demolish his enemies.
That's a big bonk. We're going to get very good at bonking.
The Huntress seamlessly moves from melee to ranged combat and back. The true damage potential of the Huntress is only unlocked when you learn to combine ranged and melee abilities together.
That was like the Neverwinter, the Hunter Ranger. I enjoyed that gameplay style a lot.
And then there are the spellcasters. The Sorceress is a pure caster who much prefers to stay at range and drop powerful spells on her foes. If she finds herself surrounded by enemies, she would rather use an ability to escape than to take them on directly. The Druid is also a spellcaster, but unlike the Sorceress, he uses his spells as a means to support his melee abilities. And by melee abilities, we mean he can turn into a giant animal and rip his enemies to pieces.
We've all gone bear mode every now and again.
It's time to check out the Mercenary.
There's not a job out there I won't take, so long as the pay's good and a crossbow can solve it.
I cast Gun
take them all down, one bolt at a time.
When thinking about each new class, we really try to think about how we can make combat feel different from all the others. For the Mercenary, that difference is the crossbow. A crossbow is fundamentally different than a regular bow because it fires instantly instead of needing to be drawn back. This means that you need immediate feedback. Clicking the fire button should make the character shoot instantly, just like in a shooter. As soon as we experienced that, we realized that there are a lot of design lessons to learn from shooters, and so we fully embraced them. In Path of Exile 2, we have crossbows that work like sniper rifles, shotguns, and assault rifles. But in order to really get shooter-like gameplay, we wanted to go further. In Path of Exile 2, we now support WASD movement. You can now walk around in any direction independent of aiming. In fact, if this is your preferred method of gameplay, you can use it on any class, regardless of what weapon type you're using.
It's a machine.
You can change between click to move or WASD at any time. You can only hold 2 crossbows at a time, but Path of Exile 2 is all about interesting combinations of abilities, and this is where ammo skills come in. This is a burst shot crossbow, and right now I have armor-piercing ammo equipped, which makes it very effective when facing a group of enemies, since it pierces right through them.
Bloody horrors!
But there are other ammos too. For a bigger, single target, it might be a good idea to switch to Incendiary. The more projectiles hit the target, the stronger the ignite, so you'll want to get up nice, close and personal with this one.
Close range, long range, flamethrower.
If you have a bunch of targets running at you, you might want to slow them down. In this case, you could switch to Permafrost Burst Shot. Shooting a bunch of smaller enemies at range will chill them, and potentially even freeze them in place.
This as a team
Once you have some
support
frozen
class.
enemies though, you can switch back to Armor Piercing. Shooting a frozen enemy with Armor Piercing Burst Shot will explode the ice, doing a huge amount of damage to all nearby enemies.
I'm playing this with a couple of other people. We're going through as a team.
Another feature crossbows have is attachments. This is a grenade launcher. As you can see, when I equip it, it appears on the underside of the crossbow. These attachments are just like skill gems, so you effectively get extra skill slots, and you can augment these with support gems, just like regular skills.
Fire in the hole!
These grenades take a while to explode, so it's a good idea to pair them with some kind of crowd control, like Permafrost Burst Shot.
It's Call of Rayclast. It's brilliant. I cast grenade.
We have other grenades too though. This attachment is a flash grenade. It does barely any damage, but it does a huge amount of stun. It can be a great opener
breaching.
before you run into combat.
You can play a breaching assassin.
Surprise!
Now, here's another attachment, an oil grenade. Firing one of these grenades coats the ground and nearby enemies in oil. Oil slows enemies down, so it's another useful crowd control mechanic.
Can you ignite it?
Now, another thing that oil can do is be set on fire. Any burning enemy or explosion will ignite the oil, causing extra burning damage.
Frag out. Hell kind of a name is soup.
One of the problems with burst shot crossbows is that each pellet doesn't do much damage individually. This means that if enemies have armor, then it will be very effective preventing that damage.
Mission
But thankfully, you can equip an additional crossbow in your second weapon set to deal with the weaknesses of your primary weapon.
We'll get him next time.
This is a rapid shot crossbow. Rapid shot is great for closing on enemies because you can shoot while running. In Path of Exile 2, we now have the ability to allow you to use some skills while moving. Being able to create skills like this opens up a lot of new design space and allows us to really increase the pace of combat.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
The armor-piercing version of Rapid Shot slowly erodes a monster's armor. Once the armor is fully broken, you can easily switch back to Burst Shot to deal much more damage.
If that stacks and you can have multiple people playing as the Mercenary, ripping the enemy's armor apart, I can see that getting out of hand very fast.
Being able to run while shooting with rapid shot is also great for when you want to perform a fighting retreat.
Reload!
Using permafrost ammo with rapid shot is also useful if you need to retreat. When you shoot the ground, it creates ice crystals. If you draw monsters back over these crystals, they explode, killing the monsters.
Brilliant.
It's great if you want to set up a safe zone before pulling the next pack.
You can set traps with your own crossbow bolts. That's brilliant. I know that people hate it when I like things.
Slowing
but this
enemies
looks
down
good.
can come in handy if you want to use the incendiary version of rapid shot. Using this skill requires that you charge up a little bit before it fires, but as it continues to heat up, it will do more and more damage.
Sort of turret than the Yuri turrets from...
It has a really large clip size, so you can just keep firing and firing with it. But the other really useful feature is that when the crossbow is heated up, it adds extra fire damage to any grenade that you launch.
When I say to people, don't make a cinematic, just show me the gameplay. This is just a full level with the character. This is the best way to advertise what a game is and what the character does.
Now, I've been using explosive grenades here, but it will work equally as well with flash or oil grenades too. If you use it with oil grenades, the oil will catch fire immediately.
I really get annoyed when they just show you the gameplay and then they're like, it's the game. Have fun. This is Path of Exile 2.
Another
Yes.
crossbow type that you can find is power shot. This one works just like a classic sniper rifle. Use it with armor-piercing ammo and it will penetrate armor on targets. So it's a good idea to use when something's really tough.
Back down or die!
So a couple of us in a team just playing snipers.
Now this skill has another interesting interaction with armor break. If an enemy has its armor broken, then your power shot hits a weak spot and does a huge amount of single target damage, with a bunch of extra stun for good measure.
Bullseye!
Now, the incendiary version of power shot is more like a rocket launcher. It does a big explosive blast at a distance.
I swear to God, they just said to themselves, how can we put guns in the game? And they're like, well, we might have to...
One of the really useful features of this version is that you can explode any grenades that happen to be on the ground.
They just wanted guns. And they justified it with crossbows. That's what they did.
This combo also works really well with incendiary rapid shot. I'm going to charge up the heat on my crossbow, shoot out a bunch of grenades, and then start the fireworks with a power shot. The ice version of power shot creates frost walls at a distance. This is great for crowd controlling monsters in tight passages.
Oh, damn. That's actually really cool.
The wall segments have other uses too. If they get destroyed by monsters, then they will explode, doing a small amount of damage.
Block him in!
Okay, area of effect spells, crowd control, that's something that's not seen too often in almost any game. MMOs used to really focus on it, but crowd control used to be a specific kind of archetype.
Now, remember that burst shot combo with frozen enemies we did earlier? That works with ice walls too. Let's put burst shot back on. Now I can fill up this area with ice walls, then shoot them with armor-piercing burst shot for a huge amount of damage.
It's like angry Frosty.
Alright, it's time to face the boss for this area. Let's see how we fare against her with all the skills I've shown you so far.
Shall take pleasure in your castration! I'm not letting you anywhere near him. Stay still, the mother! No. My dear child! By the gods!
It's attacking you with angry fetuses.
Eat your fill!
This is very Resident Evil, as you said. This is... I mean, I'm impressed, but equally disgusted. In a good way. I am sickened, yet curious. Voice acting is decent as well.
Dismember!
Yeah, Chris is the kind of guy that went, so what are we going to show off on the gameplay then? Put the undead fetus mummy
What is
in.
going on in this godforsaken city?
And that's the Mercenary. It feels totally different than anything we've made before, and shows you the range of what's possible in Path of Exile 2.